What is up, everybody? This is part 2 of my workflow series when I walk you through my workflow on how I get pictures from the camera imported and onto my social media accounts. We have already uploaded the photos into Lightroom, we've created the catalog, and now we're going to start editing. This video, again, I'm trying to keep them about 5 minutes long. It's just going to walk you through some of my very early steps I get to set up my photos and how I shoot my photos and frame them with editing in mind. So we have these amazing pictures of the Manhattan Bridge taken from Brooklyn. And what I love about the Manhattan Bridge from this angle is you have the cobblestone streets, but also you have the Empire State Building back here, and I want to make sure we can really emphasize that. The only issue is you have 1,000,001 tourists all over here, and it's impossible to get a good picture without having a tourist in it. I mean, these people totally photobombed my photo. I don't even know what she's looking at because his camera's over here. That's beside the point. Let's dive in on how we're going to get our photos set up. So the first thing is you have to take 1,000,000 pictures, and it had just poured, and I got this really cool idea. Unfortunately, so did everybody else after they saw me do it, to get the reflection of the Manhattan Bridge. It's a little blurry here. I knew I could do better, and so I started taking more photos once I was able to get some of the people out of the way. But you can't always get them out of the way, which is kind of frustrating. And so what I really ended up with is this photo right here. So I shoot in HDR, which means that when I take a picture out there, I have this idea of I want to get as much detail as I possibly can into each photo. And so HDR shooting really takes 3 photos, one at your desired exposure, which is this photo, one at a higher exposure, and then one at a lower exposure. And when you combine the 3 together in post-processing, you get this beautiful exposure. So I've marked these 3 with a 5-star rating, so I remember to go back to them because those are the 3 that I wanted to use. And so really how you blend these together and you merge these using HDR is I just select one, go back to the other one I want, hit shift, click. That highlights all 3, right click, hit photo merge, and then HDR. Lightroom's going to give you this preview, and we're going to go ahead and set Deghost up to high. We'll see what that does. I always click auto align and auto settings. It makes it a little bit easier on the back end once you do that. And then you do this process called deghosting, and Lightroom is going to say, hey, some things didn't really line up, so I'm kind of filling in the details here. This is where I really go back and I analyze and say, okay, is it really something I need to worry about? And in this case, I mean, it like removed their entire hat. That's impressive. Or I got a different shot of them. So I think I'm okay with setting it to high. We're just going to double check and make sure I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and deghost just to preserve some of that detail. So okay, once you're happy with how it looks, just click merge, and it takes, depending on how fast your computer is, it could take like 30 seconds, it could take a couple minutes. So just sit back and let it do its thing and maybe have a cup of tea. And so you don't really get a notification that it's done other than what popped up over here. So when you see the 3 images that you selected, the HDR will always pop up to the right of it. So we'll go ahead and click that, and I just want you to see the difference of that photo, right? Here was like the desired exposure, a little too bright. Here we have so much more detail. Very happy with this. It kind of removed this guy down here. That's kind of strange. He's standing, but he's also sitting. So we'll edit that out as we move further. Before I really dive into my workflow, there's a few things I like to hit first, and I'll talk about that right now. It's first this remove chromatic aberration. You see this pink line over here. Sometimes you get these weird pink and green lines on your photos. You click that button and it removes them the best it can. You can see it down over here on the bridge too, where the photos didn't quite line up, or there's a weird reflection, and then it just cleans that up. And I love doing enable profile correction. Lightroom's usually pretty good at figuring out which camera you used, especially if you're using a DSLR or a mirrorless. And then it just helps remove some of the vignetting, and really helps center the photo, make things straight around the edges. And the last thing I like to do before I really dive into my workflow is come down to transform, click auto, and let the photo align itself. You can do guided, and you can draw these lines to make it line up how you would like, or you can click auto and it'll do it for you. And you can also individually play with these sliders over here, but auto usually does a pretty good job. I'm happy with the way it looks, and I think that's it for this step. Come back for part 3, where I'll go into my individual adjustments, adjusting the tone, the presence, and do some other work around removing some things off to the side, and getting things lined up. So thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe for some more videos, and I'll see you at part 3.